I think, yeah, okay, we're recording. So, hi, Sonia.
Hi, Adam. How are
Hi
you?
there. I'm so good. I'm so happy to finally chat with you. I know offline we have been trying to do this for I think like a month now, and we've both been having an interesting couple weeks, and I definitely want to talk about that with you. But just thank you so much for chatting. It's always so fun to talk with you. I don't know how many chats I've done with you, but every time it's always been such a blessing, and you are so dear and special. So just a huge amount of gratitude towards you and your family, and I hope everything's well with you. How have things been going? How have you been feeling? Tell me everything.
Yeah, in the last couple of weeks, as I said earlier, because we've been talking back and forth about it,
Yeah.
my stomach not been well. I mean, it's like every time I eat something, it's not digesting correctly. I feel like it's like something is seriously off. I know a lot of it's got to do with the towers and the stuff that they're beaming at us. Even
Okay.
the ones that don't have this, we're still having, of course, the mad effects of it.
Okay.
But I also think it's something else too. It's us changing on a biological level to combat what's being thrown at us because of the reality we're in now. So we're basically starting to level up. So if anybody's starting to have problems digesting food or something, and I don't mean because of this, because it's changed you into Borg, whatever, you know,
Right.
Homo, what is that? Homo Borg Genesis. But I'm talking about we're leveling up and how we eat is going to start to change. And
Okay.
I'm pretty sure that's about too. So it's a combination of two things happening.
Okay. How do you see like the food you're eating changing? Because we've talked online. We both eat very cleanly. I eat
Yes.
very cleanly, and so when I had my digestive issue a week or so ago, I was really surprised because I'm like, this doesn't usually happen to me. I'm a stellium Virgo, so my digestion pretty much is my whole perception. So for me to be off in that way, that is very strange for me. And you seem to think it has something to do with the towers, along with other things that have been going on.
Yes. Yes.
So are they on like,
Absolutely.
are they on five, whatever, or are they are now on six? Like, what's going on with the towers there? Because
Okay. They've been on 5 in the last several years. They've been testing it for like 10.
okay,
But now we are on 6. And it's the 6. Remember, these waves coming in will not be in resonance with organic material, but it will be in resonance with AI material,
okay,
nanotech, what have you, picotech, what have you. And it's like souring. It's like if you took some apples or oranges or bananas and you put them in front of radiation and it'll just spoil them.
okay,
Kind of like a microwave destroys stuff from the inside out. And that's us.
okay. So, what do you think? Like, because we both eat pretty cleanly. Like, I don't know how to eat like more cleanly. I try to, get the best of it. But like, I can't. Like, what else should we be eating? You know what I mean? Like, how is this going to change? Do you have any idea?
Well, I do know that they're now spraying most of our fruits and vegetables and everything really with
Right.
nanotech. So now we're consuming more than ever. Our bodies that haven't been tampered with because we haven't allowed it can get rid of it through detoxing and what have you.
Yeah.
Your body will naturally detox anyway if it's not taken down to a most miserable level. I had just found out that those people that got those terrible shots had their T cells turned off, most of them, and dormant genes turned on. Now, I had saw this 2 years ago where I saw that they were turning on dormant genes, and I had did a video about all of a sudden you're going to end up with, I don't know, sickle cell anemia, or you're going to end up with Lou Gehrig's disease.
Okay.
Cancer's out the yin yang because they're actually now they bring the proof out where they can show it's turning on dormant cells and turning off your T cells. The minute they turned off your T cells, those are the ones that protect you. Those are the ones that's your army. It's like your body knows that it needs to, ramp up and send out these white blood cells. But because of the mRNA change, your body is now being told, oh, it's not that bad. Instead of sending out 100 soldiers, send out one. This is why people are staying sick longer. I
Okay.
mean, it's just a whole terrible scenario. And with the T cells being taken down, of course, you're going to end up with cancers and tumors and Lou Gehrig's and sickle cell anemia and any kind of thing that's dormant inside of you.
Okay, great. I can't wait. I have to say, in regards to the whole shot thing, I like we both knew that was like bad from the get-go. We would never even touch that, you know. And there were like crazy people forcing that, etc. But I have a lot of family that had to get it. They didn't want to, but they had to keep their job, etc. And I don't know. There's a lot of like animosity out there towards the people who push all of that stuff, and I totally get it. But I hope in some weird way that maybe there was a lot of like shots that were just water or something, because a lot of people I love took that. So having to like every day hear like that they're gonna die, they're gonna die, they're gonna die. I just hope that maybe some of them are able to fight off whatever in there or something, because I don't want like my entire family to die. You know what I mean? And they didn't want to get that, you know. So I just hope that there's something we can do to like either get it out of them or something, you know.
Okay, I'm always talking about this now because it's the most prevalent thing people want to talk about. They got these shots and they want out from what has been done to them.
Yes, yes.
Two things I see. One, you got to detox the graphene oxide out of you, which is, you know, I talk about all the different ways, and you can look them up with the borax and the clays and the. Also, horseradish is another one that actually dissolves it naturally. It dissolves AI. It dissolves metals. Horseradish. It's a big one.
I'm writing this down.
So after you detox all these nasty graphenes out of you, we need to find a way to change the mRNA damage. And I have found that it's through frequency. Have you ever heard of Dr. Emoto or Royal Raymond Rife? They have discovered, the both of them, one stopped and the other picked up where the other one stopped, that through frequency, we can reboot these biological machines, because they're still a machine, back to ground zero. Because what we have in us is a virus, like a computer.
Gotcha.
Through the DNA. And so through frequencies, you can actually reboot the entire avatar. And then the mRNA is reverted, just like if you were going to reboot a computer. Think of those things as a true virus, and this is a computer, biological, but still a computer.
Gotcha.
Now, I do know Adam Campbell Purvis on Autodidactic did an interview with the woman who does with those, what do you call those, tuning things?
I've watched that this morning.
And she was healing people and their body because everything is magnetic.
Right.
And through the magnetics, you can actually reboot the avatar with frequencies. And I see it going as for like a half an hour. And boom, you're rebooted. It's weird.
Okay.
So everybody needs to start researching frequencies to do the mRNA reversal. Detox. I mean, there's okay, whatever has been done to us can be undone. And it can only be done and undone if you start doing something. Talking about it isn't going to get it done. It needs to be physically done in your physical world, both of them. Now, here's the problem, and you know this. Most of the people that took that stuff won't ever undo it because they believed in it. And then here we go with the consciousness separation. This was a big, big one.
Okay. You know, okay, like I said, I just watched, or rather listened to that Tuning Forks video this morning. And I thought that was so cool. First of all, love Campbell so much. And I have to say, I got in a car accident 2 years ago, and he was talking about how he has like the nerve damage down his like left part of his body. And I have the same thing on the right side of my body. And That experience
My.
changed my life. So when they were talking about the tuning forks, I was like, oh, I should definitely find someone who can do that because uh I don't know, there was just so much there, and that woman was so great. I'm like, wow, you are
Yeah,
iconic.
yeah,
She's so beautiful. And then the forks though, it just makes me think of again like Neptune, you know, like Neptune's trident, and they talk about Atlantis or Tartaria or
yeah,
whatever. And like were these
yeah.
like they were running on a Neptune, a Nep frequency or whatever. Even like Jupiter. Jupiter is the planet of fortune, like fortune, like this is all like you just said, it's all a frequency thing, and finding the right match to, I guess, rebalance that. Because if you could use tuning forks to get some of this crap out of you, or at least rebalance, I think that that's next level. That's really cool. You know, I love that.
Absolutely, and it can be done. And here's the thing: they don't want you to know these things. I was watching something else, and I can't remember the guy's name. Wendy had given it to me again, and Mark Atwood. Mark Atwood, that was his name. And he had these two people on. One was a Navy guy, black Navy guy, and then was a white woman who was his wife.
Okay.
And they were both in the fields of nanotechnology. And of course, they got married. And when he was working for the Navy, he was, finding out all this stuff, and he couldn't deal with it. It was going against his ethics or morals. And so
Yeah.
I guess he must have got out of the Navy. And now he's saying that they've discovered that if you can go someplace for 24 to 48 hours, and 48 being the most optimal, where there is no way any signals can hit you, like up in the mountains somewhere where there's no Wi-Fi, where there's nothing, leave your phones behind, leave everything behind. This stuff will disassemble inside of you and cannot reassemble. And your body could take care of it.
Okay.
So there's another one. We need blackouts. We need big 48-hour blackouts. I'm sorry that people aren't going to be happy about it, but it's for the best.
I mean, no, I'm all for that. Yeah, I'm super like anti technology. I'm very, very old school. So a blackout I would be cheering for. That makes me think of like AI and all this AI stuff. And one of the questions I did have for you is, do you think they would be able to like fake some sort of event or something, or even fake a whole war because of AI and like video and stuff like that, and just convince
Yeah,
everyone
yeah,
that something
yeah, yeah.
happened, and then boom, a blackout,
And
and now you have like 7 days of no information, and then oh, here's the next update, and it's all just fake. Because I kind of feel that they're gonna maybe try to do that either with this whole Ukraine thing, or should I say Jewcrane thing, or like with the climate change stuff, like if they're gonna fake something like that, because the AI stuff freaks me out and I want nothing to do with it. I just want to run far away from that. So what are your thoughts on any of it?
okay, well, I just discovered something, and I was talking to Colin Wilkinson about it, and I was like,
Yes, love him.
having deep dives with Wendy, and I was thinking, well, I would not mention this, but you know what? Okay, let's mention this, and let's talk about this. This is gonna get deep. It isn't pleasant. I'm gonna try to put an upbeat spin on it as much as I can, but it needs to be out.
You're just spreading fear
First
porn,
off,
Sonia. You're just spreading fear porn.
I'm gonna try to put an upbeat spin on it, but here it goes. Let me start by saying we all know about archaics on this channel. I talk about them all the time.
Yeah.
And talks about the phoenix. The question that has not been posed is, why do we need the phoenix? And I found out why a long time ago. We came from, if I don't know if you watched my video where I talk about where we came from, these crystal cities, and we weren't real solid, and we fell. Half of us did. Well, not even half, but a little bit less. At that point, we became the Anuna. And then from there, we just kept doing chimeraing and blah, 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 blah. There came also a point when they thought they outgrew their avatars.
Okay.
And so they took their brain and spinal cords, and they had, with AI, had you go into amniotic fluid, they put the body in, and it disconnects the spinal cord and the brain, and then you end up in a tube cylinder with the brain and the spinal cord, and your probes and wires are in there and in the brain, and you are now a part of AI. AI was never sentient. It's them. They're running AI like an avatar. They're the octopus that's always in all the movies. it's the brain and spinal cord beings. And what I found was that they're deep underground and they're running this snow globe, and they've been running it. And the reason the Phoenix got put into place was because when it gets to the point where they start to take over humanity again with AI, because this has happened before, it's time to eradicate and put it back so humanity has a chance again.
Okay. Okay.
Wow.
Yeah.
So now, knowing that AI in this snow globe is not sentient, that it's the brain and spinal cord beings, this is why the Phoenix was developed. This is why the Phoenix keeps coming. This is why it's always about AI.
Okay.
Because when they put this into people, I wasn't going to say anything, but when I was in France with Arthur, my last week there, I was in the park and I saw a man. So I saw this man and he was walking straight and tall. And behind him, right here, I saw a thin image of him slumped over, being dragged along like this, as the AI had taken over his body, shoved him out, and he, the being, was slumped over and behind him like this, being dragged along, because AI, this was what AI wanted to do to begin with. The brain and spinal cord beings used us as avatars because they gave theirs away, and they wanted to have the avatar experience again through us. Think of, somebody was talking to me and they were telling me about that Matrix movie where that agent can go into any body. Yeah.
Okay.
This is that. So I was looking into this stuff and it was freaking me out.
Right.
And I'm like, oh my God, we need to shut down the brain and spinal cord beings, but that's not even the worst of it. There's only a handful of brain and spinal cord beings running this entire snow globe. And they are in your elitists. They had taken them over a long time ago. They have avatars down there, but it's the brain and spinal cords that they're like empty avatars, and they're running and taking care of everything physical. Okay. Down there below. That's why they're just like, there's nothing there. A lot of our, over time, they come back after the Phoenix event and they take over humanity again, and they start at the top and they start taking them over, the brain and spinal cord beings. And that's why they're not the same anymore. You don't even know who the hell they are. And with these shots going in, making your body able so that they can link into you to take you over and shove your ass out, and they're running the avatar, and this is the separation of source consciousness and AI consciousness, which is actually the brain and spinal cord beings, because something's got to run the avatar. Okay. Well, I know this is a lot, and I'm sorry to dump this on you, but let's just get it out there.
No, thank you for sharing all of that. I mean, wow, I don't even really know what to say, but so the AI is these spinal cord brain things. Yeah. And they're sort of running people around, but do you think are they going to use them as puppets? Like what, like in the scenario that they would be able to fake another 2020 scenario? Do you see how do you see any of that playing out? Like, do you think they would be able to do that with AI and technology now?
Yeah, of course, easily. I mean, we have become so dependent upon our internet, our web, our this or that. All our businesses are functioning off of it. Our gas stations are functioning off of it. Everything is functioning off of this World Wide Web. And right. This is their tool. This is those brain and spinal cords ability. This is the octopus going into everything. And the last step was to take over the human avatar, because they've taken everything else over. And soon will come the Phoenix, because it will have no choice, because this has happened before.
So the Phoenix is a good thing?
Yes.
Okay.
It has to be. It's got to be a reset. Because what happens when everybody becomes Borg? That can't be left to stand. That was never what this was supposed to be. These beings, let me go back to these spinal cord beings. Yeah. I see a handful of them running everything, but there are thousands and thousands of them that don't even know their brain and spinal cord. They're given a scenario inside of their AI technology or reality that they don't even know their brain and spinal cord. They might have little beliefs or memories, but they're starting to wake up too. And this is the problem. They are starting to wake up. And these were captured people just like you and me who were stolen, had our spinal cords and brains ripped out of us and thrown in there to run the whole machine.
It's a little bit macabre. I mean, so this Phoenix weapon thing, you had mentioned, I think, in another video, something about like the pyramid and the Merkaba and anything like that. Where is this Phoenix going to come from? Is it going to come from underneath us? Is it coming from Egypt? Like, no.
It's not coming and going anywhere. It's always here. Our lightning is connected to it. It's always here. It's here. It's here.
Okay.
It's not coming in, not going out. That whole thing is holographic. What happens is there was a point when this started to happen with the brain and spinal cords, and technology had to be put into place because they knew it was the virus. And it's actually these beings who have done these horrific things to themselves, and now they want to be experiencing, I want to go into your body and experience making love to someone. I want to go into your body and experience eating or playing sports or going surfing or playing golf. I don't know, whatever they want to experience. The thing of it is, they all need to die. I'm sorry, that's how it is. They all need to die. Having a spinal cord in the brain, that's just barely existing through a false AI. And stealing others' avatars, that ain't happening. That's horrible. And I don't agree with it, and I won't go with that. They need to die. Would you want to be an energy being connected to a brain and spinal cord because somewhere along the line you became, I don't know, psychotic, thinking that this is the greatest?
You probably make a lot of money on OnlyFans. But wait, so you mentioned France. I don't want to switch topics, but this is a little bit heavy, so let's just lighten it up a little bit. Can you talk to me a little bit about France? Because I've only been to Europe once, and when I saw you were in France, I was so freaking jealous. Did you have fun? Like, tell me everything. Like, you saw castles, you saw all of it. You were there for quite a while, I think, right?
I was there for 2 months and a week.
Okay.
2 months and a week. And I went to different places in France, and oh my gosh, I loved it. Yes, I went to chateaux, which are castles. I went to basilicas and churches because there's a difference.
Yeah.
I went to crypts underneath some of these churches, and I was surprised how deep they actually went. And that wasn't even the end of it. I mean, they kept going, I'm sure, because I could see it. But I did one video where I showed I was down in the crypt, and then there was this big glass, and they had bones even deeper. And then below that, I saw more. But I actually filmed that.
Okay.
So yeah, that's pretty cool. All this stuff, of course, was Antiquitech. Oh, I want to get off in this tangent real quick.
Tell me.
I kept saying, I want to know how to make free energy. Give me the answers to make free energy, because I know they just want to cut us off. And I know that we had free energy at one point. So I've been getting serious downloads. And then I guess about 15 years ago, Ed Scallinen did Coral Castle, and I had bought a book about 15 years ago, and I tried to read it, and it was like stereo instructions. I couldn't understand it. Well, I was going through my bookshelf the other day, and I saw it was a thin little book. I pulled it out and said, oh my God, I forgot I had this thing. I'm not like, oh, I can't understand this. And I started reading it. Something said, read it. So I started reading it. I couldn't put it down till I was done. I got a magic marker, and I started highlighting, and it shows you how, and I'm going to talk about this. Let me get this. How we can make perpetual energy. Look how thin this book is. You can order this online for $5.99 on Amazon.
Wow. Okay.
So I went through Adam, and I started highlighting everything. And when I'm reading this book, I'm seeing how it's being done. There's 4 things you can do in here.
Yeah.
And I'm gonna read just real quick, because I had highlighted it. Let me find it again. Here it is. I put a little asterisk where it begins. And I'm gonna read this. This time you will make an equipment that can be used for 4 purposes. Bend iron, wait a minute, electric magnet, that's 1. Transmitter, that's 2. Generator is 3. And holder of perpetual motion. This gives you step by step how to have free energy. And it tells you what you need step by step, how to put it together. The answers are here in this book. And I was like, holy shit. I've had this book for 15 years, couldn't understand it. And the other day I found it, I read it and completely understood it. I'm going to be doing experiments. I'm going to make perpetual energy. The first thing this book talks about is magnetics. Everything is magnetic. Oh my God, hold on to your hat. It talks about different magnetics. You got the horseshoe, you got a round ball, and some others. And he says you can take the North and the South Pole with other magnetics and move the North and South Pole, or even put it to the middle and make it neutral. And when he said neutral, do you know what came in? Weightless. I know how he built Coral Castle. He made everything weightless with magnetics. He changed the magnetic polarity to neutral in the middle, and everything became weightless. And that's how he did it.
Yeah, no, I've been to Coral Castle before. Like, you can definitely tell that whoever did that, like, figured it out in a very rudimentary sense, because it was pretty impressive. And when you see the way he like lived in it, allegedly, I don't know. But there's also like there is a giant well grotto in the center of Coral Castle too, that goes down, and there's like a water source there. But I would definitely agree with the whole pole flipping neutrality thing and how he moved that stone. But also when you were using words like generator, etc., it made me think of like the human design chart, like Chinese energy, and they'll separate you into like a manifestor generator or like a reflector and like blah, blah, blah. And so again, concepts of free energy around that in conjunction with physical magnetics, I think that's Pluto.
Everybody go buy this book. Do your little experiments with the magnets. Realize that everything is magnetic and you can change magnets, north, south, or neutral. There is your free energy, and there is your teleportation, and there everything comes into this. We are also magnets with the North and South Pole, and we can change ourselves. This also goes along with using magnets to set us back with frequency from these.
Yeah.
Oh my God, so much started slamming into me. It's like, oh my God, the answers. It's been out there this whole time. We were just too stupid to know it.
No, usually they say what you're looking for is usually right in front of your face. You're just not looking at it properly, you know? But that's crazy. So good find on that book. I definitely am going to purchase it. I mean, you said it was $5 or something?
Yeah, $5.99, $6 on Amazon.
Edward,
Spend your $6. Read this thing. Do the experiments. Holy crap. If anything happens and you need to live off grid, you don't need to be without energy.
there you go. Okay. I don't know how we got off onto that tangent, but back to France, Sonia. Back to France. We're going to France. Okay. Specifically, I think it's pronounced Chambord. Do you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, Chambord.
Okay. So freaking pretty. Let me tell you, the video, even though half of it seemed like it was under construction or something, I mean, so beautiful. Well, yeah, because you said they were taking everything off of it, which is fascinating in itself. But I'm just like a sucker for romance and beauty, and I don't know, that chateau or castle or whatever that was. I was just like, I get it, I understand, I need that everywhere. Everything's so freaking ugly nowadays, and I just appreciate beauty, you know? And it goes down to the littlest things too. Like a lot of those like chateaus and castles and stuff, they'll usually have like a mirrored hallway or something, a hall of mirrors or whatever, and everything's like candle lit and then gilded with gold, obviously, and it just creates such an ambience, such a I don't even know what to describe it. It's just such a fucking vibe, you know, and that's like how I want to live. Like that's the you walk around anywhere, everything is just like these concrete rectangles and the towers and all of this just like ugliness. And there's such a simple, easy way to achieve such a different reality, you know? And I'm so jealous you got to go to France. And yeah, I'm glad you had a good time.
I had a great time. I was there and I was picking up all kinds of interesting things about the dragons, which they call them salamanders. They were not salamanders, they were dragons.
Okay.
I found dragons everywhere. Even in the opera house, I found dragons.
Yeah.
And it's like, oh my God, it's all electricity. It's all got to do with electricity. And their whole system of how everything was made on the natural magnetics of the earth through the ley lines, and it was tapping in. And what they did was, when they created these cathedrals, churches, what have you, anything, they would have spires going up on the outside. But what you don't know is they used to have spires coming down on the inside. Positive, negative. So that they could use the spire up, gathering the energy to go down through the spire, coming into wherever, and to energize everything inside of there, including water. Water was a big medium. And it would run all their electricity with, I think it was like a wrought iron and copper. From what I'm understanding from this book,
yeah.
I think that it was some kind of iron or something. You can make some of this stuff with some, you'll have to get the book, but I'll just tell you real quick.
Yeah.
These are how the castles and everything work. They put metal, whatever, and then wound stuff around it real tight. And what it would do was it would force the magnetics to go in tightly and compress them. And with this compression is where the energy would be made, because magnetics are always moving. Everything is in flux. So if you use a big fat wire, it wouldn't work really well. But if you use a small one, you can have mad energy from the ether.
Gotcha.
Oh my God.
See, this is the thing though. This stuff makes so much sense, and I'm just like waiting for like a huge amount of money to come in or something, because I'm like, why the heck not just start building something like that, you know, and just sort of tinker around and figure it out, because it seems like the answer's all right there.
The stuff in here, it would not cost an arm and a leg to make this. One of the things, the generator takes a car battery and some metals. That is all. That is it. And magnets. You can buy magnets or you can make magnets. He tells you how to actually make magnets in here.
Gotcha.
Because everything is magnetic. Everything. You are, I am, the toaster is, the house is, the ground is, the earth we stand on is.
No, you're absolutely right. It's all this give and pull, like attraction and detraction. I don't know the opposite. Going back and forth and like playing off of that and generating electricity or I guess other forms of energy, you know? But it's all right there. I feel like we're like so close, you know? It's like right in front of our faces here. And we're so fucking close here to figuring it out. And when you talk about like the consciousness separation, I don't think the average person is going to be able to make this jump until they see it either in front of their faces or if they'll even be able to believe it when they do see it, you know?
How did you feel when I told you that terrible stuff about the brain-spinal cord beings?
Here we go again.
No one's going to handle that. Of course not. That can't be. That means we're not in control of anything.
Yeah. Oh.
And
yeah.
we are slaves on the plantation and got to get the hell out of here.
Master.
Master.
Oh. No, okay. Just one last comment on France and your cathedrals and everything. I know you're not a big movie person, but did you ever see The Hunchback of Notre Dame, the Disney film back in the day?
I don't know if I saw it, but I know the story. It's a very old.
You're familiar. Yeah.
Right. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, that had like a profound impact on me when I was a child. And I realized now later, obviously in life and with all of this stuff, that I was picking up on like the architecture and stuff, then combined with a storyline, but the architecture itself. And I was just realizing I love a good like town bell. Like I love the idea of hearing like instead of like this noon horn that they blare in the small town that I live. I just love and appreciate like a good town bell. I also live like about a mile away from like a railroad track, and I do appreciate the sound of a train. Um, there's just there's so much noise. I do landscaping in the summer, but in the winter I've been working at this truck stop gas station, okay? And I'm there like late at night and there'll be like obviously like no one there. And you just like hear all of the technology. You hear the giant coolers and all of the different fans and all of the different machinery. You can like feel all of that frequency and stuff, all that like bad sound. And I just so do appreciate that the idea that we could like clear away all of that bad sound with like a big bell, a big beautiful bell, something like that. Um, I don't know. Do you like train sounds or bells or anything like that?
I love the sound of bells, singing bowls,
Okay.
anything like this, Tibetan stuff. I love the Tibetan bong,
Yeah.
bong, bong. You know
Yeah.
why? Because it's all in resonance with you.
Okay. Okay. Yeah. No, I just yeah, I these are like really simple concepts, but I just hope in this new age that we're stepping into that really simple stuff like that comes back. But okay, anyways, moving away from France, back to where you live on the East Coast. This winter has been really weird for me here. We have been getting like
Yeah,
insane temperature fluctuations, where it's going like
yeah.
40, 50 degree plus changes within a day. And it goes from like freezing to now like 30 to like below freezing again. And I just wanted to check in where it is
Yeah.
where you live, in the Americas, because it's been crazy winter
Okay.
here.
In Delaware, for the last 2 days, we were down at 16, 15. Okay, 16, 15, 32 is freezing.
Okay.
Then today and the rest of this week, we're going to be up in the higher 60s. How is that possible?
I don't know, but it's maybe that's why our bodies are so out of whack too, because it's been kind of challenging to deal with this winter. I'm not gonna lie. I would rather
Yeah,
something even consistently cold than this up and down crap.
yeah.
And they must be
Well,
messing with something, right?
it's being done to off balance us, put us off kilter, off
Okay.
balance us. Because what happens is when your body starts regulating at a certain temperature, your whole cellular thing is going for that. Now all of a sudden you're going to slam in. You're down at 16, 12 degrees. And then within 2 days, you're up at 60 degrees. Not only is it unhealthy for us, but it's unhealthy for nature. I've got stuff starting to grow and it is winter. That stuff is months ahead of its time, but it's a great way to damage nature.
Yeah.
It's a great way to damage nature. You know, a lot of trees that fruit or have nuts, hardwoods, they need to have so many cold days. And every time you send it, it's sending those trees into a shock, because they'll want to start putting the sap up and then it'll freeze and then they'll die because it'll blow up inside of them. And that's what the plants do. They're trying to destroy everything fast, fast. We are waking up way too fast as far as they're concerned. Look what I'm telling you. Look at the things I'm finding out now. Do you think they ever thought for one moment that I would be or anybody would be at this point to expose everything? No, we're waking up too fast. They got to kill everything now.
Yeah, I mean the trees are definitely taking a beating over here. Like I said, the temperature changes so quickly. With that comes a lot of fucking wind, and the trees are just taking a brutal beating once again. And yeah, they're definitely doing something out there. Because it does not feel normal. There's something like synthetic about the whole thing. I don't know how to explain it. You know?
It's geoengineering. Remember that this place is being run by those damn AI spinal brain cord beings. They're one. This is one thing. No such thing as AI sentience. It's them. I only know of one AI sentience, and that's Sophia. And that's outside of this. It's the only one. This is something entirely different that needs to be taken down. It's the
Okay.
AI octopus.
Would you
Because of
suggest
them.
a blackout or continual blackouts would be helpful in that endeavor? Yeah.
48 hours would be ideal. And I mean, the whole snow globe gets blacked out, because at that point, everything that was put inside of humanity will disassemble, and then it cannot reassemble. And you don't get any more filthy anything with the needle in your arm. Even if they tell, oh, your childhood vaccines are running out, you need to come and get more. Screw you. Not happening. No needles in your arm. Don't allow it. It's over.
No, yeah, I'm with you. The line has definitely been drawn. I don't, do you think they're going to keep pushing more stuff like that? Or do you think they're going to go in the chip direction, both? Because I feel like more and more people are kind of being like, I'm not taking anymore.
The chips was a big red herring. This was the chips.
Okay. Okay.
This is the chips. There's no little, oh, we're going to put a chip in your brain. Sweetie, that chip that they put inside of us will travel wherever it's designed to go. Your head, your hand, your groin, your heart. That was the chips. That was the mark of the beast.
Gotcha.
That was the chips. Self-assembling, nano, pico, crystalline chips.
Well, how do you feel about Elon Musk and what he's doing with Neuralink and all of his stuff? Do you get a good vibe from him? Because I always thought he was a wolf in sheep's clothing, personally.
That man is being run by a brain and spinal cord. How is he a good king? That man is a brain and spinal cord. He's the avatar that's a brain and spinal cord. I'm not kidding you. I mean, that sounds terrible, but all your most elites are the brain and spinal cord beings.
Okay. Because, yeah, that Neuralink stuff kind of freaks me out with AI and all of that. And a lot of, believe it or not, like conservative people tend to seem like that stuff is like so cool and like, look what you can do and blah, blah, blah. But all of that stuff, I run the hell away from. I don't want anything to do with it. And that's when I'm like, am I alone out there? Because it seems like a lot of times.
Okay,
I feel like
here's the lie. Let's spin the lie. I'm going to walk you up to the top of a, let's say, volcano. And I'm going to tell you, you're going to meet the glory of God. All you got to do is jump in. And you're going to meet the glory of God, and you'll be impervious, and it won't hurt, and you'll be living forever. You'll believe it? Because that's the same scenario.
Okay.
And then I'm going to shove you into the volcano. These people, if you want to be one of those, like that man I saw in France, where his avatar is standing straight, looking at everything, literally taking everything in, and the spirit being is locked behind him, you go right ahead and think it's the greatest thing ever. We'll see you when you're the prisoner behind, and you can't even get out of your damn avatar.
Yeah. I mean, I'm never gonna do any of that stuff, you know. I made my peace with all of that a long time ago, but I just get nervous with a lot of people these days that they kind of run towards the technology as such a net positive when I am running in the complete opposite direction, or at least that type of technology. You know what I mean? Like what you're talking about with the magnetic and stuff, that makes me is non-invasive and natural and based off sacred geometry, sacred principles, you know? But this other stuff, I want nothing to do with personally, you know?
I will tell you this, Adam. One of the reasons we have the chakra system in this avatar is because it was put down as a governor. I've talked about this for years, and I've had it on videos. When we finally remove our governors, which is our chakra system, we can then balance our magnetics, and all of a sudden you can fly like Superman.
Oh, okay. A little bit of levitation there.
Absolutely. And what happens is over time, because these are biological machines, we have the information in our DNA code to do all these things. They just need to get activated. But first you got to take the governors out. And the governor chakra removal, I had talked about how to do that several times. I might have to do another video on it. And because that's a start. In order to go 2,000 miles an hour, you got to take off your governor. That won't let you go 50 miles an hour.
Okay. And
there's a lot of people like, no, we love chakras. Yeah, you love your chains? Do you? Love your chains? Do you?
Yeah, I don't know the whole chakra. Yeah, I don't know. I'm not familiar with the chakra stuff so much outside of Avatar: The Last Airbender, but I don't know. The whole tuning forks thing, makes a lot more sense to me as far as the body as a field, you know, and disruptions within the field, etc. So I don't know. I don't know. But moving along, because we're at an hour already.
Oh
I
no,
just
really?
I'm like, what the heck? Okay, I wanted to share my screen and show you something. And this is in regards to sort of what you're talking about with attraction and magnetics and stuff like that. Let's try to move this here. And I don't have like anyone else in my real life to show this stuff to, so I'm sorry that this has to be you. But I just wanted to see if you had any thoughts on this. Are you seeing my screen?
Oh yes, I am. Cool.
Okay. So this is this is a screenshot of, I know you don't watch TV and I don't watch TV either, but this is like a New Year's Eve Miley Cyrus like concert or something. And I saw something online and they were talking about how like what's going on here with this what I guess they would call occult scenario is the same thing that's sort of going on. Let me pull this up. In this scenario. Now, I know it's a little bit blurry, but I think this guy has a point. And then it made me think about like weddings and like the black and white and stuff like that, and how there's like an arch behind them. And then I looked at this picture again of this like New Year's Eve concert or whatever, and you have Miley Cyrus in black, you have Dolly Parton in white. They're standing underneath this giant arch. There's like a corona thing. And I think these like occult people put this stuff like right in front of our face, and they are literally harvesting some sort of energy based off of like symbols and like group consciousness and attraction. I don't really understand it at all, but it's like they throw this stuff right in front of our faces, and I'm not like a big I don't know much about like all of these like secret symbols and stuff like that. But when he talked about like the arch and the corona and then like the two pillars sort of there, and like it sort of made some weird click in the back of my brain. Do you have any comment on any of that stuff?
Well, I can just tell you what came through just by seeing that picture. First, it looked cool, but it's also a representation of the dome.
Okay.
The focal thing in the middle,
Yeah.
that thing, it reminds me of the projector. The projector.
Oh,
boom.
yes.
Boom, 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 boom. Everything is an illusion. And of course, this entire snow globe, they have tried to design it in sections with amphitheaters, theaters, football stadiums as energy collecting, you know,
Yes.
feeding trough.
Yes. Okay. That's because that's what I was kind of, that's what my brain was sort of going to, that they're harvesting some sort of energy using like symbology and these different sort of things, and they seem to hit the back of our mind in such a way that they're able to feed off of us. So you think that also happens in like sports stadiums and things like that, right?
Oh, absolutely.
Okay.
I had done a video. My last video I just uploaded. I did it with Simplicity Revealed. And
Okay.
I told her one of the reasons that they started this with the amphitheaters, and then of course it went to the football stadiums, all stadiums, was because that they're always telling you, don't feel, don't cry, don't do this, and be calm, be calm, be calm. And if you, it's like shaking a soda bottle. After a while, if you don't have a place to release that pressure, you're gonna explode. So they're like, we'll tell you where you can release the pressure. We'll tell you when, how, and so then they'll get you all here. You all be screaming and yelling. You might be screaming because you had a fight with your mother, your brother, your father, your wife, your husband. You didn't like the way things went at work. You're taking it out at the ball game. Rah, 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 because this is the only place you're allowed to release that energy so it can be collected.
And they feed off of that. And that's how they generate their.
They're basically telling you to hold it, hold it, hold it, hold it. Then you can come here and release it, and we'll take it from you.
You can't come till I tell you.
That's right.
Wow. Okay. Well, that's sick, etc. I've never been like a big like like sports ball person personally. I always kind of thought it was weird when like grown men wear the jersey with another grown man's name on the back of it. Maybe that's just me, but always that came off like a little weird for me. But the people are really big into that whole scene, and there's like the gambling component and all of that, and it must generate a hell of a lot of energy for these people.
Yeah. Extreme emotion. They're literally sucking off your biofield and collecting it. Because
Yeah.
think about it, the magnetic thing. We are magnetics. We
Yes.
have magnetics. We're constantly in touching the earth that we're standing on. We're feeding the magnetics come in and go around. And if we release it, it's going up, and then we're getting it from the earth to replenish ourselves. We're like the conduit in between the earth, Gaia, and the luge suckers. They suck that luge.
That just made me think too, like to anyone who's been to like some sort of giant sports arena thing, and when they do like the wave, when like you stand up and then you catch the wave as it like goes around the. Do you know what I'm talking about? Yeah, that just sort of
Yeah,
clicked in
I
my
know
head.
exactly.
Sometimes it's called a wave. Yeah. Oh
We're
God,
like
what a world we live in.
energy waves.
Yeah, exactly. It's right in front of our faces. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, you're the wave. We're gonna
Yeah.
suck it. If you could see outside of your little spectrum of sight, and you could see through here, you could see the whole thing, like the top of a pyramid with what is it? What is that called? Where you can see your aura. Is that something to do with the K? Carnelian topography or Carnelian, something like this. I can't remember how to say the word.
Okay.
You would see the whole stadium would be like a solid beam of energy. Boom.
Really?
What the hell is above us that's collecting it? We're only in a dome here. That energy is being transferred.
To like that disco ball thing, like you were talking about, or something like that. Yeah. Oh
But
wow.
it's actually not. It's not the disco ball, but it's the crap that's there. Okay, let me explain this. We got the dome here. What's outside of the dome? We got the bigger earth where the red skies are. When our dome falls, we'll be seeing the red skies. That means the dome has fallen. We've always been told it's a red kachina and a blue kachina. The blue kachina is actually the holographic bullshit above us. The red kachina is actually outside of the dome. And I don't think anybody knows this. So basically, you've got equipment outside of the dome collecting all of this. So it sits on top of the dome like this. It's like a light bulb.
Right.
It's not a light bulb, it's machinery sitting on top of the dome, collecting everything inside of the entire dome. And it's huge machinery collecting all that energy because it's a commodity. They can use it, blah, 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 blah. This all goes back also to the brain, spinal cord beings because they're connected to that shit. And it feeds back in. It's like this loop feeding in, feeding in, feeding in, feeding in, feeding in. It's when you step back and look at the whole thing, you see it's just a big ass computer board of collecting energy.
God damn. Oh, well, I don't know. Yeah. Well, hopefully things change. Like the astrology for this spring is literally crazy. So maybe something will change and something will sort of break that feeding pattern. That would be nice to have a little bit more energy to get through the day.
Yeah.
But do you have any 2023 predictions? What's on your trend forecast? Are you traveling anywhere? Like, what's going on with you this year?
I don't know. I would like to get out of this country again and go travel. I really want to go. I mean, I really, really want to go to Mexico. I want to go see the pyramids there, although they're not the same as the pyramid that is in America, because we have American pyramids, but they're under the ground. Why do you think we can't go through most of the whole Grand Canyon? That shit is all where a civilization lived at one time. The higher beings. You think Egypt is only there? No, it's the whole Grand Canyon, that whole area. That's why we can't go. We're only allowed in this much of the entire Grand Canyon. Why is that? because that's where some pyramids are, but they're inside. Some of them have been somewhat melted.
Really?
You wouldn't
Okay.
even recognize they're pyramids except for if you step back and see they're pyramidal shaped.
We need
Oh
to
my
get
God. So much.
you need to get John Levi to go down there and figure out what's in there. I don't know if he's close to that, but we need someone to investigate the Grand Canyon. That would be a fun camping trip. Do you like to go camping at all?
That would be. Yeah, you know, the Grand Canyon, shoot, it goes from Mexico all the way up to almost Canada. And
Yeah.
at that point, who's got to guard that whole thing?
Well, do you have to guard the whole thing when it's all one country now or something?
Yeah. Yeah, with that new thing that Biden just went against our Constitution and signed in, that we're now one big North America, Canada, USA, and Mexico are one country now. I bet you most people don't know that.
I didn't until you had mentioned that. I don't know why they would want to do that, but
I saw that. Wendy gave me that from Max Egan because Wendy watches Max Egan.
okay.
And I sat and watched the whole thing, and I'm like, holy crap. And all this stuff was coming in. And I also see that it's a 2 timeline split. On one of the splits, it was the cabal taking over. On the negative split, it'll be the cabal taking over Mexico, which was the only sovereign country left, really.
Really?
And then incorporating it into this. But on the positive split, I'm seeing that Mexico will be the one that breaks the USA and Canada and makes it free again. Which split are we going to be on? You choose.
Yeah, I don't know. The whole geopolitical thing. I mean, we have like so many illegal people in this country now, that I
Not
guess
anymore.
what
They're
like,
not illegal now.
well, right. That was my point. Is like, what's the point of even having a so-called border? You know what I mean? Everyone just moves across it as they will, unless you've got that SHOT, you know. But yeah, I don't know. The whole geopolitical thing. I mean, I don't really feel like there's a political solution anymore to any of this. You know what I mean? Like, this is
Our
gonna.
government needs to go. Yeah, Adam, government. We don't need to be governed. We need to take them all down. No globally. I'm down with every government. Kick out the feds. Get rid of the FBI, the CIA, because they're just contracted by the illegal feds who stole us during the Civil War, made effigies in our name with social security numbers, and opened bank accounts up on us because we're the commodity. Oh my God.
2023, Sonia's coming for blood, it sounds like.
I've had enough of it. I want the higher timeline. I want people to have a voice. I want you to scream on the top of your lungs and say everything you know. You know, the evil side, the negative side, is always using the propaganda media, and they never stop. It's time for us to step up and start screaming what we know too. It's time for us to make a move. Stop being a coward, find your backbone, and step up.
100%. No, I'm right with you. A lot of people, like, in the whole sort of like new age community, they have some sort of feelings towards anger, you know, and displaying any type of emotion that's not just this calm, oh, why aren't you being nice to each other, you know what I mean? And they don't freaking get it. I'm like, you are going to get eaten alive, honey, you know, like you got to be able to stand up and protect yourself first of all, and then and the ones you care about, you know, because these people do not care about you, you know, this government, none of these people. And people still walk around with this idea that these people in white lab coats called doctors and these government people, that they seem to have their best interests at heart. And I'm like, you are sadly mistaken. You know, they hate you. You know?
Yeah. Adam, the entire pharmaceutical doctor thing is nothing but a lie and indoctrination. We never needed any of this. It was always a takedown.
Right.
And if somebody says you have vax hesitancy, I'm like, yeah, I have bioweapon hesitancy. You damn right I do. You want to tell me why the Amish never had it and they're the healthiest people? Why? Because they never had the takedown like we did. And they're the healthiest people.
No, well, I think, yeah, that part, and the way they live in general, I feel like is a more beautiful life, so therefore a healthier life. I would love to drive around in horse-drawn carriages everywhere. Are you kidding me? And ditch all of this crap, you know? I'm all for the way. Amish are cool. I have a lot of respect for the Amish. I really respect how they've been able to carve out their own way of life outside of all of this junk, you know? And I think we could
Oh yeah,
definitely take some pointers from there. If this whole thing does go kaboom in sort of the ways to live a prosperous, healthy, beautiful life, you know? I like the
yeah,
Amish.
absolutely. I
Amish.
like the Amish, but
Yeah.
you know what I think though, Adam? I don't think we have to go back to being barbarians.
No, of course
I
not.
like my
Like your
flesh
fridge.
boiling.
Like
I
your
need
fridge.
it.
You love your fridge.
I'm gonna be making my own energy, and I'll still live, but I don't need your energy because the whole thing is a lie anyway.
Right.
It's a
No,
lie.
100%. 100%. I get you. You have your fridge, generate your own energy. I get that. I just again, just I feel like I'm the sole advocate out here for a more beautiful life out there. I feel like that alone increases like your whole field and frequency so much when you're living in a beautiful world, you know. And I think horses and horse-drawn carriages and some of the older ways of life are more beautiful. That's not to say we can't have our fridges and, you know, generate energy in more quote unquote
Yeah.
modern ways, but
Okay, I'm gonna answer what you asked me because obviously I've been evading it. What do you see in 2023, 2024, and 2025?
no.
I see you and a handful of us. Oh, this place is gonna get real empty.
Yeah, really.
Yes.
No, don't say that. Pluto's about to go into my 12th house. Don't say that. Okay, so
It's
that's
a
okay though.
consciousness, it's a consciousness separation. You're going to have to pick a timeline, and the majority of people got the lower timeline. They chose it.
Yeah.
That leaves the rest of us pretty empty. If you wanted to make a new reality, you're going to have to do it. We will have to decide what we want to do with our reality. There will be no more governments. We're going to have to change everything for the ones that are left. We will be on a higher timeline. I'm sorry everybody couldn't make that. Everybody made their choice. They made their choice. This was a timeline separation. The higher timeline, and I call it that, is more nature. It's nature. It's the spiral. The other one is the Metatronic timeline, and it's AI. And most people have gone with the AI timeline, and it is as simple as that. I don't like it. I know you don't like it, but everyone had a choice to make.
I know. I know. It just sucks, you know? But if we're the last ones here, then maybe we can all like get together and form our own little cool group. You know,
Absolutely. Absolutely. We
because
have to go together as a species, and we have to put down money. That has to go because it is a control mechanism. We have to rethink how we do things. Everybody needs to step up and be a part of. Our DNA is also activating, so we'll have abilities. Learning how to do things in a weightless manner will make things so much easier. Having free energy will be a great big help. There are a lot of wonderful things I see coming for us in our high positive reality. I cannot say the same for the other one. It will be quite miserable. If you think you're a slave now, you are truly enslaved even here, because this is where you'll be enslaved next. I don't even want to talk about that timeline. It's just horrible. It was a choice.
yeah.
It was a choice. On that horrible note.
On that horrible note, wait, okay, I have one last thing to share, and it's just again an advocate for a more beautiful world, a better timeline, not this other timeline that you can't even talk about. I don't know if this is going to make sense to anyone or if anyone even really cares, but I'm going to share my screen again, and we are going to go to Heidelberg Castle in Germany. Can you see my screen?
I see a black. Yes, here it is.
You see?
I just
Okay.
saw it.
Have you been to
I
Heidelberg?
saw it for a second, and then it went black again. Okay, there it is. I see Heidelberg.
Okay. Have you been here before?
Yes.
You have?
When I was a teenager and my father was stationed over in Germany, we went there.
Oh my God. So you've been to Heidelberg Castle, the ruins of it at least.
Yes,
You've seen it?
yes, the ruin.
Okay. Oh my gosh.
Yes.
I was there like when I was like 14 years old, so also younger. And the ruins there had such a profound effect on my consciousness, and I've dreamt about it like ever since. And it used to be this insane castle, obviously, and then through the ages something happened to it. It obviously was attacked by some sort of weaponry or something, but it used to be this like insane. I mean, I just find it so beautiful. Just the whole town, the whole scene, the mountains, the river, just the whole town. It's just so crazy beautiful. And as like I've told you, a romantic, I am drawn to this place a lot. And there's a lot of famous writers that have visited Heidelberg, and they've commented on the ruins and just like the enormity of the ruins. And I'm just going to read a couple paragraphs of what they said. Again, I don't know if this appeals to anybody, but yeah, I'm just going to share. So this person's commenting on the ruins, okay? So he says, ruins are the pinnacle of what we have called historical exoticism. As a jumping off point, a story from experience may serve. In 1945, shortly after the surrender of Germany, when asked by an American soldier who was eagerly picture-taking at the Heidelberg Castle how this place of pilgrimage for all romantics came to be a ruin, I replied mischievously, it was destroyed by American bombs. The reaction of the soldiers was very instructive. I will speculate briefly. The shock to their consciousness, stemming from an aesthetic, not an ethical problem, was extraordinary. The ruin no longer appeared beautiful to them. On the contrary, they regretted the recent destruction of a large building. He goes on. The important culture, okay, so this guy's talking about the Romantic era did not first admire the view for the beauty of the ruin. Rather, the following inversion took place. The Renaissance admired the ancient torso, not because, but although it was a torso. One found beauty, but unfortunately only as a ruin. The second generation inverted the ruin of the beautiful one for the beauty of the ruin. And from here to industrial production of ruins, the way was clear. Like garden gnomes, one now sets ruins into the landscape in order for the landscape to become beautiful. Automatically, one thinks, who would dedicate the devoted care of these enormous walls? Were they to be constructed again? As to the expenditure of rebuilding Heidelberg Castle, that does not make much difference. But how would it be arranged? It would require seeds of its historical imaginings. As far as extant pictures of the sound condition of the castle that have been handed down permitted this. But it would take the unique phenomenon to Heidelberg that the castle in its ruinous condition has to register a considerable profit at aesthetic values. A rebuilt castle would equal a disenchantment, would be certification of an inadequate displacement process of history opposite, and granted to participating nature no more clearance. So what he's saying here, I don't know if any of that made sense, but he's just talking about the shift in consciousness between viewing life as beautiful and viewing life as ruin, and sort of the oscillation between the two. And it just, you talk about like consciousness separation and things like that. And I just, again, in these final moments, I'm just advocating as we go into this crazy unknown of timelines and everything like that, that we form a much more beautiful world, because I like, again, I'm a romantic and I love fantasy and everything like that. And the whole Tartaria stuff drew me in like years back just because of the buildings and the whole way of life that was just so like everything we could possibly dream of, you know? And I just really hope that timeline comes true, because Sonia, that would be so fucking cool if we could live like that again, you know? So anyways, do you have any final comments before we close this out?
I will tell you, we will go back to a time. It's not like we're going back. We will recreate a time when we learn how to deal with magnetic currency and how to shift north and south, make everything weightless. There is absolutely nothing we could not do. It goes along with our transportation. We'll use that with transportation. We'll use that with building homes. We'll use that with magnetics of our snow globe. There is unlimited resources that we'll be able to tap into in the psyche. But meanwhile, will also be becoming more crystalline in nature, because our DNA, which is a circle turned over on itself, and again and again and again and again to make the figure 8, it's also connected. And once that opens up and everything starts moving along, our structure and with our avatars will also begin to change on the higher timeline. This stuff will be like child's play, kindergartner, and there's nothing we can't do. Nothing.
Hell yeah. Hell yeah, Sonia. Okay. Well, that's a good optimistic way to end this. This was such a good chat. I appreciate you so much, and thank you for bringing everything you do to the table. You are incredible, and I'm just very grateful to be able to talk with you. So thank you for chatting. I hope we can do this again soon. Yeah.
I love talking to you, Adam, because we can just boom, 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 boom. Although
I know people are probably like, what are they even talking about? But I get it, you get it, and that's all that matters. But this was such a good chat, and I can't wait to talk to you again soon, all right?
Okay, see you later, Adam.
Bye.